Hey y'all, it's me again. We talked about the endocannabinoid system in the last video, and if you didn't catch that, you might want to. This is a really basic overview of the ECS, and matter of fact, they're always learning new things about it. So we'll just keep adding information as we get it. We're all learning. We're all learning the science behind why full spectrum hemp, or as some of us call it, full spectrum CBD, works the way that it does. And so part of that today is we talk a lot about CBD and THC, which are only two of over 120 cannabinoids that are in full spectrum CBD. And that really got me thinking, like, these are pretty two important ones, and they're the most abundant ones in the full spectrum oil that we're taking. But what do the rest of them do? What are their roles? And I found that a lot of the roles overlap. Not only do they work synergistically, but they also like overlap with each other. And that's true with essential oils and other herbs. It's just plant intelligence is intelligent. It doesn't just target one thing or one symptom. It often works with the root of the issue and what's going on. So that's one thing that I really value about plant medicine. So we are going to talk about just three today. CBN, CBC, and CBG. These are three different cannabinoids that you can find that are in your full spectrum CBD oil if you're getting it from a quality company. Okay. The reason plant-based supplements are important to us is because they do work on a cellular level and they build up your system. So you're working with your body the way that it's meant to work. So we talked about that with the ECS video about how communication is so important between body systems and in our body. Okay. Things don't work right when there's a communication failure or a deficiency, or lots of things play into that, from stress to diet to mindset to actual physical deficiencies. So it's very complex, but at the same time, plants are very complex. So not only are we getting there's nutrition in plants. There's just a plethora of things going on there. So anyway, that's one reason we're so passionate about it. So let's just start here really quick. CBN. By the way, these have really great scientific names that I am not going to butcher on a video. So it's kind of like when you're reading the Old Testament and you see these really big long names, like you're reading in Numbers or Leviticus, and they've got like she begat and he begat, and there's these names that are so big you hope that when it's your turn to read them out loud you're not called upon, or you just learn to kind of sound them out the best you can and act like you know what you're doing and just kind of move on. That's how I feel about some of these scientific names. So I'm sure there are some scientists here that have got the rhythm and how to say these really, really well. I did Latin in my day, but it's been a really long time, like 25 years. I wish it was still with me. So CDG is a pretty amazing cannabinoid in our body, and they've done quite a few studies on this. One thing is that it has antioxidant properties. So we know that's a really important thing, from our skin to organs and all of that. It aids in skin ailments. One thing that I found really interesting is that it reduces interocular pressure. And so there's a lot of endocannabinoid receptors in the eye and the whole eye structure. They're very prevalent. And so there's a lot of speculation that it could help some pretty major eye disorders. I'm not allowed to sit here and just list disorders, because not only do I not want to claim that it will fix them, I'm not allowed to claim that it will fix them, but I'm also here to say that a lot of people are seeing help with fixing them. Does that make sense? So just take that for what it is, and think about that. So that interocular pressure is really important. They've done some studies with mice, and they have seen inflammatory bowel diseases be reversed. So we all, not all of us, but we're familiar with gut health. I talk about gut health a lot. Inflammation is super a super big problem for gut health, and so reducing inflammation is really a big deal. So it's really important. You can't take in nutrition the way you need to. Your body can't, your bowels, your system can't move the way it needs to. There's a gut-brain connection. So when your bowel's not working, your brain can be foggy, your mood can be dysfunction. So there's a lot connected to your gut. So this is something that's really important to us. You hear us talk about it a lot with fermented foods. So, but here is this full spectrum oil that also includes this CDG that influences our gut health. So, and this is a well-documented thing with mice and by the experience of lots of people. So the other thing is CDG protects neurons. In a study they also did on mice with Huntington's disease. I'm sorry, I had trouble saying that for some reason. So neuron protection is big. And I didn't see for CGG exactly what other mental disorders were covered as far as specifically seeing some release from this, but I do know that there are many other deteriorating mental illnesses or diseases that have been helped. Alzheimer's is one of them. Again, that's by experience. I haven't seen any studies on that. I just know people have experienced it. So it's a pretty big deal. So they also, with mice, saw that it aids in colon rectal cancer. That can be a big deal. It blocks receptors that cause cancer cell growth. So CDG helps block that. Okay, CBN is the second one. And this was really kind of something that caught my eye because one of my children has had a seizure before. And we did a lot of gut restoration with her and some detoxing. And so we haven't seen any other seizures, but they do run in my family. Adam had one when he was little. They never figured out why. He was on 9 different meds for 13 years, I think is what he said. Or maybe it's 13 meds for 9 years, something like that, a really long time. And without them even really knowing why he had a seizure. So I'm not sure if they put kids on meds like that now. I don't know. But this is definitely my choice here for just rebuilding a system. And because again, we're talking about the ECS and communicating and how the body needs to communicate and detox and all these things need to work together and happen. Seizures, a lot of things behind seizures can be a detox issue. Not for everybody, but that can be one. So I thought that was interesting that it can help. It's anticonvulsant. It can help with seizures. Pain relief. Okay, CBN helps with pain relief. It promotes the growth of bone cells. So that's a really important thing and a hot topic here. So that was a big one. It's antibacterial, and it's highly antibacterial. Matter of fact, this one was so antibacterial that they studied it. It was 1970, I think. I have to look the data for sure, where they just inadvertently were using CBD oil on some MRSA, some staph infection, and it cleared it up. So that's something that's being studied more. There are other things that are helpful for antibiotic resistant strains of things. So, if you need more information, go to PubMed or a place like that and just do some searching. You'll find some really good essential oils and hear this CBN, which is part of full spectrum, is also part of that. And it's highly anti-inflammatory. So the last one is CBC, and it's listed as a powerful depression fighter because of the way that it unlocks receptors and communication. It also inhibits tumor growth. It's a highly anti-inflammatory cannabinoid, and it's a powerful acne inhibitor. So that's kind of cool. I have got teenagers, and we use our hydrosols on our skin daily and things like that, and that definitely helps. But I'm curious to know on the long term how this is going to help them. What a blessing that they get to start at a younger age than a lot of people and see how that's going to help them. So I'm going to add to the bottom of this a little pie chart, and it will show you how CBD and THC take up a big part of the pie, but how there's all of these other little ones that also have a piece of the pie. And my belief is not only do these little pieces have jobs, but they all work together, just because that's the way it tends to work in all of nature, that they work synergistically. When you pull one piece out specifically, you can have problems, especially when you try to duplicate that in a lab chemically. Okay. when you do that, you're getting a synthetic version of something, and it's nowhere close to the way nature intended it. There is a THC-free CBD isolate that the company we use sells, and I've got lots of people who are using that with success, nurses and truck drivers and things like that. It's really changing their life, but it's from the whole plant. It's not synthetically produced. And then the reason they only sell that with peppermint is because the peppermint has terpenes in it, which helps activate that CBD, which is what the minute amount of THC does in the full spectrum. So they've even helped balance that out. So I don't have a problem with that. That's like taking vitamin C instead of eating 50 oranges, but it's still, what kind of vitamin C am I getting, or what kind of vitamin D am I getting? Am I getting a food source? Am I getting quality, or am I getting something synthetic? Anytime you have something synthetic, in my experience, there's been something that's gone awry. And I'm not here to bash if you're using something synthetic. Okay. Even I've had instances, especially having kids and just starting out with kids, where I didn't know how to handle a situation, and I had to use a conventional way to get through the crisis that I was in. Don't put off getting help in a crisis when you need it. When health wise, especially if your life's on the line, or just even emotional life. I'm not even talking about physical life. Get the help you need. But then my take on it was always to go back and retrack and say, what could I do next time? What did that do for me that I can duplicate naturally? What can I build my system up with to avoid that again? What can I do when that fever hits next time, or when dehydration hits, or that bee sting, or poison ivy, different things like that? Because we've even, Adam gets poison ivy, used to get poison ivy so bad that when we first got married, he got a steroid once. Well, the steroid not only didn't fix the poison ivy, but he broke out with a rash everywhere. And 19 years ago, they were telling us that steroids can't do that. But I'm telling you, they did. He was covered. He had to go into the field as a law enforcement officer with a vest on and hike around the woods with poison ivy and this rash from an allergic reaction from steroids. That was no fun. So don't condemn yourself if you're already on a path using something conventional. That's all most of us have grown up using and knowing. I encourage you to, and I encourage you to work with your doctor. There are a lot of good doctors out there. They're out there and they love to help people. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Okay. And if they are truly in it for helping people, they tend to be more open-minded about anything reasonable that helps people. And so the doctors I know are okay with me saying, what do you think about this? And they might say, well, why do you want to do that? And I might tell them what I've read or what I've researched. They might go back and do their own research. They might already have an opinion about it. They talk to hundreds of people every week. You know what I'm saying? If your doctor doesn't seem reasonable and doesn't want to have an open discussion about how to get to the root of something, it just wants to give you something for the symptoms only, stick with them if you want to. But my encouragement is to find a doctor who will work with you, because they're game changers. That's why there's just a lot of good doctors out there. I'm not here to bash doctors. So, I'm not here to bash doctors. I'm not here to bash conventional methods, especially in crises. What I am here to say is that there can be other answers overall under root causes. And I want to encourage you to look at that and come up with a plan, and then incrementally switch over if you can, or complement what you're doing. I don't suggest that you necessarily do that by yourself. I can't suggest that. I don't know you. I don't know who you are, what your life is like, and what you're dealing with. Okay. So, but living in America, we do have a lot of free choices. We're super, super, super blessed to be in this country. So if you have any questions, let me know. Quality CBD is super important. If you are using a CBD company already and you're not sure if they're quality, you can message me and I'll give you a list of questions, things that you should be able to ask your CBD company to find out if they're quality. Okay. And if they are, keep using them. If they're not, find a new one. Okay. There's a lot of CBD companies out there. I will say a lot of them are fraud. A lot of them don't. Some of them they tested don't even have CBD in them, even though they're labeled with CBD. So just do your homework, guys. You don't have to know everything about the ECS. You don't have to know everything about all these cannabinoids and how they work. I'm fascinated by it, so I'm going to continue to research it and learn it and share with you bits and pieces that I find. But if you do nothing else for yourself, research the quality of your company, okay, that you're using, because you're paying money for this and you want it to work. And you don't want to be putting something in your body that's, I mean, I'll post that study again because when they listed out, some of them not only had no CBD in them, but they also had some pretty dangerous fillers. So anyway, message me. I will give you a list of questions. If you want to know who we use, I'm happy to share that too. Just let me know. Okay, folks, we're here to help you ask any questions you got. Thanks.